Hi, my friends. Welcome back to Real Estate Bites. This is episode 112. Um, Coming at you most Fridays at the lunch hour to talk about real estate. Like to pull back the curtain on the industry. We'll either talk about news or give some insight as to what things go on behind the scenes. Things that you guys need to be concerned about. This week, I wanted to talk about the industry and how so many people come into this thinking that it's just easy money, right? The amount of turnover in real estate is just incredible. I have seen in my 8 years, which really isn't a long time compared to a lot of my peers. I've already seen so many agents come and go very, very quickly. And it's almost always because they come in here with improper expectations. Um, the only time that I think expectations are set properly, they know they're going to have to work hard, but they find out in a short amount of time that they don't like dealing with people's emotions, that's stressful. But most of the time, people come into this and they just think that, they get their license and they start making money right away without having to do a whole lot for it. And that's the biggest disillusion with new agents. When COVID happened and prices started to appreciate, I would say between 21 and 22, the amount of agents, licensed agents in Ohio, increased by 10% in those 2 years. We went from having like 33,000 licensed agents in the entire state to 36,000 agents in the state just in those couple of years, because people saw price appreciation. They saw current licensed agents making money. They saw houses selling very, very quickly, and they thought, hey, I'm going to jump on that train. I'm going to make some quick and easy money selling real estate. Most of those people who came in that time are quickly cycling out. All right, they've come to realize that it's not what they had anticipated. And so they're starting to hang their licenses up and going back to whatever they are getting. They're getting full-time jobs again, and they're just hanging onto their license part-time. And, when you hear the stat, 47 to 50% of agents last year sold nothing, that's those people, right? So I wanted to bring on an agent on my team who came in with that disillusionment and had a rough go of it at first, but then rededicated himself, and now he's kicking ass. And I'm very proud to see it, very happy to see it. So at this point in time, thanks to the amazing magic of technology, we're going to bring Owen in all the way from the other side of the office into the stage right now. All right, Owen, how you doing, man?
Good, man. How are you?
Very good. Hey, I appreciate you taking your time today to join me in this and talk about this kind of stuff. So, Owen, you came on, and obviously you started selling real estate. How long you had your license now?
I think it's a little over 2 years now.
So a little over 2 years you've been licensed, and you came on with disillusionment. You admitted it to me in the past, and we'll get into that a little bit now. And you kind of went sideways here or there a little bit, but now you've really plugged yourself into this thing and dedicated yourself to this industry, and you're taking off, man. You got some amazing momentum behind you. So let's go back to the beginning of your story. Like, what were your expectations when you're taking those classes to get your certificates to qualify you to sit for the state test? What are you thinking that life as a real estate agent was going to be like?
Well, I guess it goes back to what you said about my expectations. They were low. I thought I'd get my license and I'd start making money right away. Everything would be great, because you go online and you see, what's the average amount a real estate agent makes, and it's way up there. But they take the average, and there's a small amount of high producing agents and a lot of low producing. So I had this, I guess, disillusion that everything would be great right off the rip.
Right. And so, that's how you came about that expectation, right? You did a quick Google search to see what do real estate agents make. Okay. And you just sort of expected, to make that much. And how did you think that the money and the business was going to come? Like, what were your expectations there?
I guess there was kind of a mystery there, but I've always come from jobs that you go to work, they tell you what to do, and you get paid. But it's not like that in this. You have to find all your own clients. You have to do stuff outside of the norm, and that was kind of where I went with it.
So when you started, you started, you got going, you were doing the work, but then, because your expectations weren't being met, you went off on a couple different adventures. Explain, the things that you were trying to do to make money when it wasn't happening with real estate.
Yeah, so I had a little bit of experience in construction, so I figured, oh, why not start a construction company and do real estate? And then I went from that to a power washing company, and then I thought about becoming a pilot, and then I thought about becoming a fireman, a little bit in the union, and full circle right back to real estate. So.
Right. So, and what we're really talking about here, guys, is, Owen came into this with an expectation that he was just going to show up at the office and start making money. And when he realized that that's not how it worked, he started trying to look for other work that he could tie into real estate that would bring him money, and still try to practice real estate, but none of it was really working out. So how long were you into it before you started going off on these, side routes?
It probably took a year and a half, to tell you the truth.
No, I'm saying it was a year and a half until you came back to this, right?
Right. Okay.
So how long after you got your license did you realize, shit, this ain't what I thought it was going to be? Maybe I should open a construction business.
Months.
Right. So
I think
pretty quickly.
Yeah.
Pretty quickly. So, and the thing too, full disclosure, I've been working with Owen since he got his license. So I've been with Owen for this 2.5-year journey. And, the thing that always got me, you would do this work as a real estate agent. You would do this work. You would put this campaign in motion. You would start doing these things. You would sit the open houses, all the fundamental things that every new real estate agent is taught to try to generate business and generate their network. And you would start, and it was like, you would see the very beginning of results, and then it would fade away. What would cause you to step away right when the ball just started rolling?
I don't know. That's a great question. I guess I was impatient. And so if I didn't see results quick enough, like, I guess I had it goes back to expectations. My expectations were way high. So when I didn't meet that expectation, I was always looking for something else.
How long, about a year and a half of, doing everything except being full-time dedicated to selling real estate. What was it that caused you to just say, you know what, I'm going to forget all that stuff and I'm going to circle back to this, and I'm really going to, put my full effort in?
I guess I tried everything, and it always came back to, this is kind of what I wanted to do. It seemed like you can make an impact in your community, and there's a lot of good that comes from it. So I guess the pros of real estate, even though it's really hard, outweighed the cons. And I guess I didn't want to go back to like a regular job, or like, it just seemed more beneficial to be in real estate than something else, for me at least.
Right. So you started doing these other things, you were kind of all over the place. Expectations were not being met. What I want to know now is, like, what are you doing differently now today that has caused you to start building this momentum? Because you are in the process of building a book of business that is going to carry you way into the future. You're way more dedicated to your craft and learning, not just about marketplaces and not just about the parts of a house, but you're learning the trade of salesmanship, and you're applying these lessons and going forward with it. So what are you doing now on a consistent basis that you weren't doing then, that is causing this positive momentum to start building for you?
I would say two things. One, I found out that it turns out that you actually have to do the work to get any result. And then two, consistency. I was not very consistent. So before, I'd do something for like a month, maybe a month and a half, and I'd stop. But since I've been going for 4 to 5 months consistent now, I'm starting to see the results. And so it's helping me push forward in that way.
You mentioned, doing the work. You actually got to do the work. What's the work? Because, the purpose of this, there's a lot of real estate professionals who watch this, and a lot of people who consider getting into real estate, or maybe are a newer agent who watch Real Estate Bites. And so what is that work that you just talked about that you weren't doing and then started doing that's making a difference?
It's a lot of campaigns and just consistently going out and trying to meet new people and putting yourself in the rooms that you need to be in and finding the right people that are going to bring you those opportunities.
Okay. So a campaign, what do you mean by that?
So like for one example is just like the Homes for Heroes. Like I'm in a program called Homes for Heroes now, and I've been attacking different police departments on a weekly basis, calling, emailing, showing up there, giving them flyers, and just trying to find more ways where I can get my face in front of more people.
You know, I tell people all the time, there's the key to this is getting in front of people. If you want to sell, you got to get in front of people, and they got to know what you do, understand what you do, see that you're a professional about it. And you have to do that continuously. The key to a long-term sustained career is once you get in front of people and you win their trust and maybe their business, you have to then put systems together to stay in front of them over a long period of time. And that's essentially the kind of campaign that you're talking about.
Yeah.
And I mean, you're in the office here every single day. I see you, and I know that the results of what you're creating are definitely they're bearing fruit now, and you're putting these systems together. You're building them as you go, which is how you're supposed to do it, because you can't build a system and then implement it. You got to build it as you go. You got to get out there, meet the people first, pull them into your network, and then just determine how you're going to stay top of mind with them. And that's the system, right? However it is, whatever method you use to stay top of mind with them is your system, and you're doing all those things. So I'm certain that you're building a long-term successful career here. So for any of those newbies or people who would consider getting into real estate sales in the future, what would you say to those people? Because, you started slow. I know you got discouraged. You thought about walking away from this. And then for some reason you decided, nah, never mind that. I'm going to really go for it. So what advice would you give to anybody who's considering stepping into this industry and taking a shot at it?
I would say just try and be consistent as you can. And I mean, the stuff that you do and teach works. So I would say if you're a newer agent and you're looking for a place to go, I would say that they should reach out to you, because the stuff that you teach definitely works.
Well, I appreciate that. Didn't intend to turn this into a plug for Civitas, but hey, Owen's right. I do know how to help you build a successful career in this. So if you are considering it, give me a call. Hey, man, I appreciate it, Owen. Thank you for your time. I know you got to get back to it. You got to go get in front of some police officers and selling some houses and stuff like that. But, man, your story is a great one. And I want people to hear it, because, you had all but hung it up on this job, man, and on this industry. You were very, very discouraged, and, on your own decided, you kind of came to the realization you didn't give it a fair shot. You didn't give it a full shot, and you decided you were going to really attack it and give it your very best shot. And man, since you started doing that, since you started committing to, getting out there and getting in front of people and doing the work, you've been doing great, man. So congratulations. Well done. And again, thanks for joining me today. I appreciate it, man.
Thanks for having me on.
All right, Owen.
All right.
We'll see you when you come back to this side of the office. All right. So thanks, Owen, for coming on and telling your story. Listen, guys, it's important to know this. You got to, one thing that Owen didn't talk about that I know was real, and I know this is real for many prospective or new agents. There's an insecurity about getting in front of people and promoting yourself and trying to go out there and win business. And if you allow your insecurities right? To keep you from getting out and getting in front of people and promoting yourself and essentially asking for their business, you will never succeed in this. You know, everybody who's successful, and especially those right off the jump, they have zero insecurities about getting in front of people and telling them, hey, I'm a professional. I'm an expert in this field. I can help you. How can I help you? Let's do this thing, right? The people who are not scared to go and do that, who are not scared to go and sell and ask for business, they do pretty well right off the jump. But I know in Owen's case, and Owen's not the only one, there's been dozens of agents whom I've mentored in the past. One of the things that gets in their way all the time is they're afraid to go ask for the business. They're afraid to go reach out to maybe an industry professional who's not another agent, but a loan officer or something to this, you know, and go and meet that person and essentially ask for help and say, hey, I'm new, you know, how can I help you? How can you help me? They're afraid to reach out by phone to even the people in their sphere or their, you know, their database, people whom they know and they might not be close to, but they come and just call them and say, hey, I'm a new agent, would love to help you. How can I help you right now? If you ever have a question about real estate, give me a call. I want to be your go-to for you and your family. You know, you got to get over that insecurity. If you don't, you're not going to be long for this industry. So at any rate, rant over. Let's get into this last week's sales statistics here in Lorain County. So as I stated, I'm always looking at these stats every Friday, about 8 o'clock in the morning. I pull these. These are only Lorain County, but I think the trends that we look at here not only are good in Lorain County, but Northeast Ohio, the whole state. I would even say the Midwest. When you get out to the coasts, maybe these sort of trends aren't as reliable. I guarantee you right now, because the coastlines and the South, they're seeing, they're struggling right now. They're seeing depreciation in home values. They're seeing a lot less sales. You know, the affordability crunch is severe in those areas. Whereas if you've been watching Real Estate Bites, you know that we continue to see incremental price appreciation, little by little, but we're seeing it. Again, here's the stat that I look at. This is column L is median square foot values. And we'll go back to the beginning. We started at 148 the first quarter. It did drop $5 from the second quarter, but from then on, we see 156, 160, almost 161, 159, 165, 170. And then the last quarter that we looked at, 175.54. So we are seeing real-time price appreciation. All right. Sales last week, these are all the homes, single family and condos, no multifamily, no mobile homes that were sold last week in Lorain County. But we start with inventory. So this morning, there were 545 single families and condos available for sale. You can see the trend. Inventory has crept up. We've got more inventory than we've seen in years right now. All right. Last week, there were 74 sales. The median square feet of homes sold last week was 1,716. Median square foot value, median purchase price, $253,500. The median square foot value for homes sold last week was 166.86. Median days on market was just over 3 weeks. Couple side notes here. We use medians instead of averages because medians look at the middle of the pack. It's more indicative of what is a typical property that's sold versus, well, look at column J is the large sale of the week, $1 million. That's an outlier here. All right. That's an outlier in Northeast Ohio. There's just not that many homes. Like if we're talking California, DC, whatever, you know, $1 million home is a 1,700 square foot ranch, right? But here in Northeast Ohio, a 1,700 square foot ranch is $253,000, right? So it gets rid of the outliers, high and low, and it looks at what's the middle of the pack, what's the typical sale. That's why we use medians instead of averages. Time on market, column H is days on market. That includes, again, going to market, having showings, receiving offers, negotiating, getting under contract, getting through both the inspection and the appraisal and financing contingencies. So once you're through all of that, then the house comes off the market. That whole process has taken just over a few weeks here for the homes that were sold last week. We can see we retraced back a few weeks to an interest rate of 6.33% for a 30-year conventional note. And like I mentioned earlier, the big sale of the week last week here in Lorain County was $1,075,000 in the city of Avon. Let's take a look at what that house looked like. It was nice to see something a little bit different. This was not on the lake. This was not in Red Tail. This was, I guess we're not going to be able to, it's not going to allow me, whenever I do this on StreamYard, it gives a pain in the ass sometimes. If I just want to look at the pictures, it just gives me a hard time. That's not what it was. Here we go. All right. So this is that beauty on Detroit Road in Avon. Okay. Nice, large. I want to say this was about 3,700 square foot home. You can see the in-ground pool in the backyard, set on just over 2.25 acres, right? So this big beauty here in Avon, you can see the reason this was $1,075,000 and actually sold almost about $150,000 above asking was because they made sure that everything was beautiful. Everything was modernized, up to date, on trend, right? If they had left it the way they bought it, this is a $750,000 home. But they did the work, they put in the upgrades, they made it beautiful, and that's why they got over $1 million for it. Big, beautiful porch. That's a nice, serene morning, right? I love some of these glass effects up here above the windows. It's really, really sharp. Again, big, nice open air kitchen, chef kitchen, opens up to the formal dining. Little breakfast nook there. Big, beautiful stone fireplace. Kitchen opens up into that living room area. You got the double-sided fireplace. You got it open on one side, open to the living room as well. It's always a nice feature. Master bath. Again, everything's updated. Everything is absolutely beautiful with great workmanship, which is why they got the price they did. Clean, staged well, pictures are gorgeous. Yeah, they took the time and effort to make sure this beautiful property was going to fetch what they wanted. And actually, they got over what they wanted. So let me see here. Okay, they listed at $949,900, and they got $125,000 above asking. So that is the show this week. I thank you guys for joining me, right? Bringing stuff like this to you guys every week. If you got friends and family who would be interested in seeing this, please share this program with them. Let them know that we're bringing you good stuff every week here on Real Estate Bites. As always, take care of yourselves. Take care of one another. I love you, people. I'll see you next week.